Hey there, I want to share with you my favorite Rick Benek riff, and I know probably 99% of you don't know who Rick Benek is. Rick Benek was the guitar player for a band in Indianapolis in the late 70s, early 80s called Roadmaster. Them and a band called Faith Band were like the big rock bands in Indianapolis in the 70s, in the late 70s. And both of them got signed in 1978 to Epic Records, and it was like everybody thought, oh, they're going to be famous, they're going to be huge. And in Indiana, you know, parts of Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, and Michigan, they were giant. In fact, I even just saw a ticket the other day to a show where they were playing, they were headlining, and the warm-up bands were AC/DC and Cheap Trick. So now basically all guitar players have lots of influences. I have a lot of influences, and most of my influences are people who most guitar players know, like George Benson or Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix, and then some guys like session guys that I really got into, and part of the reason I live in Los Angeles were guys like Steve Lukather from Toto or Larry Carlton, and also Lee Ritenour and different players like that who were specifically LA session players. And so, but generally, which is true probably for all of us, is that some of our biggest influences are the ones, the guitar players that we actually knew and interacted with. For example, teachers. My teacher, Scott Ballantyne, was a huge influence on me, and he got me into jazz, and he got me into Django Reinhardt and also Wes Montgomery. And then also, like my sister had a friend that named John Dinwiddie, and he had the most unique playing style. It was really, really cool. And so he was a big influence, and I used to go to jam sessions with him and go to rehearsals. Well, Rick Benek was a guitar player for this mega band in Indianapolis. Everybody knew who he was, and I was in high school, my senior year of high school, and I met him through a mutual friend. And we ended up becoming very good friends because we had something else in common besides guitar, and that was tennis. We played tennis probably 2 or 3 times a week from the point we met to the point 3 and a half years later when I moved to California. And so we would see each other all the time, and I would go over to his house and we would jam and everything. So there's a lick that he did that I stole from him, and to this day I still use it. 35, 40 years later, I still play this riff, and every time I play it I still think of him. It's kind of cool. But he just passed away about 2 weeks ago from leukemia at the age of 66, so I was kind of bummed, and I thought I'd do a video tribute to him. Like I said, it's someone most players wouldn't know, but check him out. The band is Roadmaster. I'm going to put a link to a song below. I'll put several links down below of songs, some of my favorites of theirs. And they were kind of like Styx, kind of like REO Speedwagon, you know, a lot of different bands. You could say Led Zeppelin was an influence, I'm sure. But Ricky played, his main guitar when I knew him back then was a 59 Les Paul Jr. It was a double cutaway with a single soap bar. So that's why I'm playing my Paul Reed Smith, because this thing is the most like that guitar that I have. I don't have one of those. I'd love to have one, but I don't. And the lick that he did a lot, and I was listening to their catalog trying to find it, and I found it on one song, so like I said, I'll post that below. But I remember him doing it live more, and I would go to a lot of shows and see him play, and that's, again, part of the reason why he was so influential, because when you go to see live shows, those players are gonna, those guys, the people you're watching and staring at their hands, that's gonna rub off on you, and that's gonna transfer over to you. So the lick is kind of is basically a 6-note riff, and I'm gonna take, I'm gonna clean up here just for the sake of not getting rid of the buzz. Okay, so I'm gonna do pentatonic scale. That's basically what we're going to use, but we're going to use the blues scale, so we're going to add the blues. And I'll put the graphic up there. Okay, so what he would do is he would do this thing where he would basically I'm going to do it in A minor. First finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Hammer on the three frets up. So you're going to be 5th fret to the 8th fret. Use your pinky. Or you can use your 3rd finger, it's fine. Okay, so that's 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. And then he would hit the blues note, and then he would hit the high note again and the blues note again. So it's very slowly, it sounds like this. And I always thought it sounded like stuttering. At full speed, it sounded kind of like a stutter. And basically the way I'm picking it is I'm going down, and then I'm going up on the 3rd string, on the 3rd string note at the 8th fret, and then I'm going down on the 2nd string, and then back to up on the 3rd. So it's purely alternating. Down, up, down, up, down. And then with some gain. You can do it on any of the pairs. So that's my favorite Rick Benek lick, and I hope that for some of you that have never heard of him, for like all of you who have never heard of Roadmaster and Rick Benek, that you'll check them out and listen to some of their music, and it'll be kind of like discovering a band in the 70s, a rock band that actually had a really good sound, not bad songwriting, that you never knew about. And if you're really into classic rock, it could be a lot of fun. I love regional bands. I love discovering bands. Every big city in America has bands in the 70s that everybody in that city thought were going to be huge, and they didn't. Whatever happened, the label didn't put money behind them, or they broke up. All sorts of different things happened. But there's some amazing records out there in all these different cities. In fact, if you guys want to, you can tell me your favorite unknown band, classic rock band from the 70s or 80s, even the 60s, from your town, and that nobody knows about. And you can even put a link, a YouTube link in there. I'll approve it. And I would love to check them out, because it's so fun to hear about bands that that went to the trouble of making pretty good records and never got recognized for it, unfortunately. It happens all the time. So I hope you guys are doing well. God bless you. And I've got some more videos coming. Sorry it's been a while. I've just been taking a break, a lot of work and things, family, summer, all that kind of stuff, okay?